So, signless img space src equals 1.jpg and a bigger sign. Less img space src equals 2.jpg, bigger sign. Less img space src equals 3.jpg, bigger sign, for first program. And the second, I equals 0, while I is less than 5, print img src equals, that's all in apostrophes so far, plus y plus, and now in apostrophes, dot jpeg, and a bigger sign. Most languages provide built-in HTML support. HTML is a markup language for web pages. You might already know it. A lot of programmers began studying it first. It's not necessary though, so our first solution made heavily use of this, since it is completely in HTML. The img tag tells the computer picture should be displayed, and it has an src attribute like source. HTML uses the less and bigger signs for its tags. The only difference is, if you know HTML, you might have already noticed it, that I didn't use apostrophe signs for the attributes value. In HTML standard, it should have been less img src equals, and in apostrophes 1.jpg, and then a bigger sign. But since we are studying programming now, we can leave out the apostrophes, since the whole HTML is interpreted as a string of characters. In programming languages, we call string anything in apostrophe signs, usually English words or sentences like hello, but numbers or nonsense things can be written as well. Most languages make possible for single characters to be written in quotation signs and apostrophes as well. But only the first one will be considered a character, the second one will be interpreted as string. Our second solution began with y equals 0. So originally we wanted 5 images displayed on the screen, and we need something that can keep track of it. We used a variable for that by the name I. It is a very usual name, but num or other could be okay as well. The while loop needs something that can be interpreted as true or false, so-called boolean. If I is less than 5, our program won't terminate. Now we know what apostrophes does, and that semicolon needs to be at the end of the line depending on the programming language. Note: the marked semicolon actually separates the statements, which usually end when the lines end, but if one decides to have multiple statements in one line, y++, j++, k++ is also correct. So what's between apostrophes? It really resembles the HTML from our previous solution, but it has the weird looking plus, ++i, plus in it. Let's say I want to make a program that writes my name, print Mike plus L plus Jordan might do the trick. So the plus sign just makes sure that the string follows or precedes something that can be interpreted as string. An integer can be interpreted as a string, so 0, -2, 5 are all integers that can be interpreted as strings. Some languages use other solutions for the same purpose for joining strings. PHP, for instance, uses the sign dot. Most languages have a built-in function called join. So mystring.join other string would work in most languages. Back to our example. Plus ++y plus joins a string. The ++y and another string. Plus y is our variable I incremented by 1 before it is touched. So the initial value of I was 0, but our first image is called 1.jpg, hence the reason we will be incrementing y before we display the picture. 90% of loops begin with an initial value of 0, that is the tradition. And a smart guy named Dijkstra suggests we should always begin with 0. He actually wrote a paper about why we don't want any other beginning values.